All right, everybody. Hello, 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 and welcome to the presentation. Happy Friday to you, wherever you are in this beautiful, beautiful world. I tell you what, guys, it is Friday, which is a good day. Any day is a Friday is a good. That's a good day for me, because I know there's a lot of anxiety and stress and frustration and anger and everything else that's going on in this world. Tonight, this is the time for you to put that to the side. Put it to the side, and just. No arguing, no screaming, no yelling, no any of that stuff. Just there we go. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy Friday. Because time goes by fast. I got to tell you something right now. Time goes by really, really crazy fast. And then before you know it, your ticket is punched, which means that you'll hear the knock on the door, and the good Lord says, "It's time on. Come on home now. Come on." So basically, use the time that you have wisely here on earth. Use it for the benefit of others, encouraging others, lifting people's spirits, praying for people. That is actually the legacy that I want to leave behind, and hopefully you do as well. All right, everybody, I appreciate you being here. I'm Bishop Long, and a couple of things we're going to get before we get into the presentation. I do invite you to please go to my site. And that is Bishop James Long. You follow that up with a .com. Now and click on the books link. For those of you who like, first of all, the archangels, I have a book that I wrote. It's the 7 Archangels Explained. I just finished the the parables in the Bible. That's been published. And also a paranormal investigators training manual. So they're about 250 pages, 260 pages. And I want to let you know that 100% of the profits, first of all, it's my work. So when an author writes a book, they have every right to receive the financial benefits. But as a community, a lot of people ask me if I wear eyeshadow. I really don't. I don't like anything near my eyes at all. I don't know if I was poked in the eye when I was a kid. When I was on the Exorcism, the Eli Roth Presents Legion of Exorcists show, they wanted to put a little bit underneath my eyes because it was too light. And I said, no, we don't, no. I don't like anything like that near my eyes. I'm very sensitive. I just don't like. So I don't like it. No. So. But isn't eyeshadow, doesn't it make you dark? You answer eyeshadow, but not my question. Because you're not entitled to my answer. I mean, because I looked down at it and I saw the question, and that's why. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Entitlement much? Can you see my eyeshadow? Anyway. Nonetheless, please go to the sites and click on the books link. And when you do, purchase all the books, every single one of them, because we're donating the finances to the MKS Kids Foundation. They're an orphanage that we are partnering with, and we have completely turned that community around. I mean, we have, and I say we because it is we. So I strongly encourage you to please do that. So again, go to my site, Bishop James Long. You follow that with a .com, and you click on the books link. And that's all you got to do. That's it. Okay. Now, if you want to go to the church's site, what is this with my eyes? Are you guys so obsessed with my eyes? I mean, focus. I don't know what is this with my eyes? What is this? Goodness gracious, Mr. Producer, you got to come on. They're Mr. Producer, they're obsessed with my eyes. I'm kind of curious, Mr. Producer. From your end, do my eyes sparkle? Do I need apple juice to make them sparkle even more? What is this? What Mr. Producer is coming on here?
From this camera angle, you look perfectly fine. I don't know what's going on. Apple juice free, and your eyes look just fine.
Mr. Producer, come on. Tell me the truth. Come on.
I to you, then I'm really done.
That's it. He's done. That's right.
See you later.
All right, buddy. Anyway, if you want to go to the church's site, you can certainly do so. USOCC, and follow that up with the .org. And okay, that's great. Boy, I bet there's a lot of people that are obsessed with my looks tonight. I tell you what, maybe I need to go on a singles line. Do they have singles line anymore, or is that the 80s? I don't. What? I mean, I remember way back in the 80s and 90s, they had singles line. Yeah, love, truth, purity. Yeah, I don't know. I am old. I am in my 50s. What do I do? What do you got to do? Yeah, they have apps now. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they don't have the singles line anymore. So for those of you, of all the single ladies, all this, I don't know any of that. That's all I know. That's the only lyrics I know to this song. I don't know the rest of the words, but nonetheless, go to the church's site, and yeah, I know I am old. This someone finally admits I'm in my 50s. That's it. I'm done. I'm ready for the nursing home. That's it. Put me in the nursing home, take my wheelchair, and call it the night. Thank you very much. That's it. Call it the night. Blushing? No, I don't blush. All right. So, hey, guys, happy Friday to you. Hopefully you're having we're just having, look, see, the thing is, you got to be able to make fun of yourself too. And believe me, there's a lot here. I mean, there's a lot to work with here when it comes to the jokes and all that stuff. But yeah, I am actually, that is true. Excuse me. I am from the 1900s. That's a true statement. Oh my God, that really does sound old. The way that really sounds old. Yeah, I'm fine wine. There we go. Yeah, I am. That just kind of dawned. I really am. I mean, I'm so old. My memories are in black and white. I'm so old. My social security number is 1. Now, Mr. Producer, his social security number is negative 1. But well, we won't pick on him. All right. I want to also let you guys know that a little bit later on tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have a night prayer. And as we always do, we have night prayer Sunday through Friday. And that's at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please make sure, hop on over yonder and say hello to us. I'm going to remind everybody that if you guys want us to pray for your prayer petitions for tonight's night prayer. So if you're on TikTok, this is what you have to do. You have to go to my profile. And you have to find the video that is uploaded. It says for tonight's night prayer. You'll see it. It's a blue background. Place your prayer petitions in the comments. But you got to do that by 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. And then we will pray for your prayer petition this evening at 10 p.m. as a community when we get together. For everybody else, if you would like for us to pray for your prayer petition, you can go to USOCC. Follow that with a .org. And it says to become a parishioner, click here. If you click that great big picture, it takes you to the Book to the Face group page. And Judy Ann posts a picture, again, saying place your prayer petitions. So we want to, look, here, we want to pray for your prayer petitions, but you got to make sure you put them in by 8 p.m. tonight. Okay? Really important. Am I really a God-fearing, or is it just talk? T-O-K? You mean talk? Oh, talk. T-A-L-K. God-fearing. Yes, I am really clergy. I serve as an exorcist for the church. I performed 34 exorcisms. I've done this now for 25 years. I've been on ghost adventures. Eli Roth, Legion of Exorcists, History, National Geographic. Just look up Bishop Long. When I went public with my ministry, I really didn't want to go public. I had no desire. I wanted to stay private. I'm actually a very quiet person. I'm only energetic or like this only when I'm online. But privately, I'm very reserved. Usually reading something, philosophy, theology, something, Summa Theologica. I'm always been like that. Now, I will play a practical joke here and there, a little prank. I've been known to do that, especially to Miss Wilma, God rest her soul. But no, I didn't want to go public. And so I had friends I've been in the paranormal community for 35 years. My first investigation was at Waverly Hills in Louisville, Kentucky. And so 25 years ago, some friends of mine in the paranormal said there was really no clergy helping. And they asked me to go public, and I didn't want to, and they kept on and asking, and finally I said, okay. So when I went public, and then I was on Ghost Adventures, the Bobby Mackeys, all I was doing in my mind was just trying to teach people about the dangers of demonology and going to these locations and not go to these locations. That's all I was doing. But then you got National Geographic and History Channel, Travel, all these networks contacted me. I'm thinking, well, what do you want from me? I'm just clergy. And so the reason is I did so many television shows or television spots as interviews, whatever, is because I started the Paranormal Clergy 25 years ago. For the whole point of that was to build a network of paranormal investigating teams so that if I had a case in California, I could reach out to that team and say, look, I have a case here and I need you to investigate. And then we need to decide what we need to do from there. And so I built this network. That was the whole point, because there was none. And as they say, there it goes. So yeah, I've done, that's why, and that's really one of the reasons why I did so many television shows, not because I was paid. Most of the time I was not. It was because I wanted to get the word out about the paranormal clergy. The whole point of the paranormal clergy was to help clients for absolutely free, but it's not free. Somebody still pays the bill. Somebody pays the bill for me to get to people's houses and get to a hotel and all that. And up until just a couple of years ago, that was me for 23 years, me. And so I'd put $15,000 on my credit card to help people for free while dealing with all the death threats and all that other stupid stuff too. So nonetheless, as of today, in 25 years, I performed 35 exorcisms, and some of them have been, some of them were aggressive, some were not. Some were actually very controlled until you start bringing out what's called the sacramentals of the church. So the rosary, the holy water, the oil. But many times in the very beginning, it was very quiet and controlled. But the moment, and that's typical because you start praying what's called the litany of the saints, and that's provocation, and you're forcing the entity to manifest. And then once that occurs, that's when you got to be prepared. But here's what we're going to do tonight. For those of you who are on TikTok and for everywhere else, this is what we do, and a lot of people are being muted, and that's too bad. If you can't be a normal human being, just be kind, you will be blocked. Number one, you will not get my attention, and no one will think that you're funny because you're trolling. We don't applaud that type of behavior. We actually look down upon it because this is not a Jerry Springer show. And so therefore you're in the wrong crowd. So if you're wanting to troll so people can get a response so that you can get followers, this is not the place for you. You will not get followers here. You will actually get blocked and ignored. Now that's just the way we are. Now, the show tonight is going to be about what is your vice? So if you got questions, we'll take a few minutes, and then I want to get into the presentation because I do have a presentation for you. Was it hard to get Roman Catholic exorcists to help? It was impossible, Hope. It was impossible. So one of the reasons why I went public, because a lot of people were saying that the Roman Church was saying, no, they can't help them because they're not members of the church. And so that's why I serve everyone, regardless of the denomination. Okay. Spiritual warfare is real. Absolutely. Well, what's the question, guys? We gotta move on. We gotta move on because we have a presentation to do. So do they do classes? They have, you mean to convert? RCIA classes. Yeah. Let's see. Thank you. You're very welcome. In the Bible, did God only speak to man? No, absolutely not. No, God did not only speak to man. Now, you have to understand also, Scripture is very patriarchal, but no, we absolutely see women leaders in early church, without question. And so, no, we actually see in Scripture that God spoke to women as well. Okay, So here's the deal, friends. We're going to get into our presentation. For those of you who don't know what we do, I always do a presentation. You're here giving us your time. I'm here. We're all giving each other's times. Deliverance class, exorcism classes. No, Angel. The problem is I have a policy. I have an insurance policy. And so you have to be a member of the USOCC clergy in order to do that. And if I actually taught it's very dangerous because that's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. Let me make this very clear to every single person who's performing deliverance ministry. Please understand that if you don't follow proper protocol, and the person expires on your watch while you're performing a deliverance ministry, you can be charged with involuntary manslaughter. So you need to be very careful. A person can go into a heart attack or a stroke. When you're dealing with someone who is truly possessed, that person has gone through extreme physical trauma. Extreme. Possession doesn't happen overnight. It is a process where the intellect and will of the human being is eradicated. They are at a very weakened state. They're immunocompromised. Their heart rates can explode out of just danger. That's why I always have somebody who's trained medically, always. So when I'm in the middle of the rite, I will have someone looking at the vitals because I don't know if the person is going to a heart attack or a stroke. I'm not trained. And so they will look at the vitals. They will see where the oxygen level is the blood pressure, is it fluctuating? What's the pulse rate? I need to know this because if you have a pulse rate that completely drops, well, that person could really be in some serious trouble, or the blood pressure going so high they could have a heart attack or even a stroke. So possession is not a game. It's not something you do this because you want to do this on a Friday night because you want to see if it's real. It's real. It's real. And matter of fact, there have been people who have performed what they call deliverances on individuals who were never possessed. Individuals who might have a mental health issue. And that, to me, that person should spend years in prison because they don't have a psychological evaluation performed on that individual. Why wouldn't you? Of course you do. You always do. That to me, it is demonic if you don't have a psychological evaluation on the individual. That's evil. So all these deliverance ministers that you see on television doing their hocus pocus and their magic stuff, please understand those people pay a substantial amount of money for the pastor to throw their coat at them and wave and whew. It's nonsense. And they have no psychological evaluations on these people. None. That's incredibly dangerous because if you perform an exorcism on someone with dissociative identity disorder, otherwise known as multiple personality, you can create another identity. If the person is in psychosis, you could feed into their psychotic, their state. This is not game. This is not a game thing you play. And I understand there's a lot of people that don't believe in exorcism or possession, and that's fine. That's their right to believe or not believe. But let me just make this very clear to every single person who's here. For those of you who are new. So I am with the Old Catholic Church. It's very clear, United States Old Catholic Church. I studied in the Roman Catholic priesthood for 6 years. I was mentored by an exorcist. I was trained in the rite. I had my minor rites in the Roman Catholic Church. I performed 34 exorcisms on people who were truly possessed. I've blessed thousands of homes where really violent activity had occurred. I don't get paid one penny as being a bishop in the church. I receive no stipend, no salary, no retirement, no housing, no church. I do this ministry 100% free. I do not charge. I've never charged going to someone's home and blessing their home or performing an exorcism. And I've said this before as well. I have a doctorate in ministry, a master of divinity, a master of education, a master of business, a bachelor of communication, and an associate of philosophy. I went to Loyola University in Chicago. That's where I received my bachelor's and associate. I also went to Argosy. I went to Sullivan University where I graduated summa cum laude. I have accredited regional degrees. This is why I'm telling you this. Thank you. If I did not know that possession exists, I would do something else with my time. Because I spend full time on this ministry alone. And then I also teach online English. That's how you got to pay the bills. So I have a master's of education. So I teach online English for students, China or Russia, Germany, or another country that they don't speak English. So I'm telling you this because whether people feel comfortable or not, possession exists. And I'm telling you this as well, demons exist. And there's a lot of people that try to convince people that it's all just medieval nonsense, that they don't exist. And I'm telling you, they are wrong. They are wrong. Because if they didn't exist, I would not spend as much time in this ministry. And then people say, well, you do this for fame. You do things for fame to make money. It's kind of hard to make money when you're giving it away, especially that I have published books and I donate 100% of that to the MKS Kids Foundation, an orphanage that our community is partnering with. So, I mean, you do this for fame. You do things for fame to make money. And I just explained I don't charge. Now, could I charge? Sure. Sure, absolutely. And I could make a very good living. I know exorcists right now that are charging $5,000 or $10,000 performing at one exorcism, and they're booked for the entire year. Right now, I could easily make six figures. That would not be difficult at all. But I don't. Because when people are at a point they're so vulnerable, they will do anything and everything. I had a person say, Bishop Long, get to my home and I'll put a second mortgage on it. Just get here. Well, they didn't have to, so I was able to put it on my credit card. But nonetheless, there's a lot of hater-gators out there, and there's a lot of people, there's a lot of nonsense. Those hater-gators, those people out there who spread all these vicious rumors, they never come on and talk to me because I'll completely destroy every single argument they present. So thank you very much. Thank you. And we support the MKS Kids Foundation. Well, you can. That's a great question, Josh. Josh says, wouldn't that be simony? Well, you can actually charge for your time. So there's nothing wrong. People say, well, I charge for my time, not for the blessing or anything of this nature. So in that case, no. But you could, I understand what many people are saying. They got to pay their bills. But no, here's what I've done. I put all my faith in God, and I said, okay, if this is what you want me to do, all right. Now, and people are asking me, why didn't I stay in the Roman Catholic Church? Because God called me here. Thank you. For those of you who don't know the story, I was studying in the Roman Catholic priesthood. I was in graduate school. My whole life, I knew I wanted to be a Roman Catholic priest when I was a 5-year-old boy. And when I was in graduate school, the last year of graduate school, I had this urge to go to the Old Catholic, and I didn't want to because I didn't know what that meant. How do you go to the Old Catholics? There's no stipend. There's no salary. You're not given a church. How do I do that? I don't even know how to do it. There wasn't a book on it. So for 1 year, I ran away from the calling and I begged God to take it away. And God said, no, I need you here. So finally I said, okay. That's why I'm here today. All right, everybody, let's get into our presentation because we are going to, we have a lot to cover. I want to talk about music, and I also want to talk about movies that are demonic in nature, because I'm seeing some problems that I think I need to, as clergy, I need to speak out. So hang tight with your questions. I promise you I will get to them. But let me do this presentation first, because I always try to do a presentation that's educational or that's entertaining, and then afterwards we can have a conversation. Okay. We need to first of all reflect on that profound truth, whether people like this or not, and it often goes unnoticed. The intimate connection between music, spiritual warfare, and the fallen angel that we know as Satan. So I'm going to talk about music first, and then we'll talk about movies. Many of us understand that music is a gift from God. It's a divine language. It glorifies Him, lifts our spirit, unites us in worship. Great. But what if I told you something that you may not have known? That Satan, in his rebellion and pride, knows music better than you, or better than most. And because he has used his knowledge to deceive, manipulate, and draw humanity away from the Creator. Remember, Satan knows music very well. So today in this section, we're going to explore how Satan's background in heaven, surrounded by angelic music, gave him an understanding of sound, harmony, melody. And we're going to see how pride led him to fall from grace, and how now he uses his knowledge of music to sow discord, temptation, spiritual blindness. So in the beginning, Satan was not always the adversary. He was once a glorious angel. Perhaps some people even say a cherubim or archangel, probably cherubim, created by God to serve in heavenly praise. Scripture describes him as the anointed cherub that covereth in Ezekiel. In heaven, he was surrounded by perfect harmony, divine music that reflect the glory of God. Satan was intimately familiar with the language of music, its harmony, power, ability to evoke emotion, spiritual significance. Just think about that. An angel created with such understanding of music used to glorify God has now turned that very knowledge to oppose him. And we, in many cases, don't even know it. Now, the Bible tells us in Isaiah chapter 14 and Ezekiel about Satan's pride and rebellion. His heart was lifted up because of his beauty and wisdom, his desire to exalt himself above God, leading to his fall from heaven. Pride is a very dangerous thing. It distorts perception, leads us to think more of ourselves than we ought. And Satan's pride corrupted his perfect understanding of divine music into a tool for deception. And in his pride, Satan sought to emulate, even replace God's glory so that the music no longer glorifies God, but glorifies him. So he was expelled from heaven, and his knowledge of music did not leave him. Instead, he took his understanding of sound and melody and turned it into a weapon. So using music as a means to deceive and tempt and manipulate. So throughout history, we see that Satan has exploited the power of music to influence human emotion, thought, even spiritual awareness. So like, for example, consider the following ways. From the seductive rhythms of worldly music to the allure of mind-altering, substances. Satan uses melodies to entice and ensnare. Also, idols of false gods often accompanied music rituals. And even today, there are certain musical styles, they are associated with spiritual emptiness, rebellion against God. The constant bombardment of secular music, it can drown out the voice of God, leading believers into complacency and even spiritual blindness. And there's going to be a lot of people right now that's not going to like this conversation because they have so much demonic attachment, they're going to rebel. And so moderators, be aware of this. Because our spirit irritates their demons. And when you start calling out the truth, the devil doesn't like that. So in biblical times, music was used in spiritual battles. Saul's servant brought David to play the harp to soothe his troubled spirit. And conversely, music can be used to manipulate, incite violence. And because Satan understands music's power, how it can stir the soul, influence emotion, shape perceptions, he employs it as a tool to oppose God's purpose. And as believers, we have to be discerning. Not all music is evil, but we must be careful to discern what spirit is behind what we listen to. 1 John tells us, test the spirits to see whether they're from God. So we have to ask ourselves, does the music uplift Christ? Does it promote love, purity, righteousness? Or does it stir rebellion, lust, anger, despair? So while Satan has twisted music for evil, God has given us music as a powerful means of worship and spiritual warfare. So the Psalms, they're filled with musical praise to God. And in Revelation, we see angels and saints singing eternal songs of worship. So we have to reclaim the gift of music for the glory of God. Satan's knowledge of music is profound. Remember, he was once an angel of divine harmony. His pride led to his downfall, And now he seeks to use that knowledge to deceive and destroy. But we serve a God who is a creator of all beauty, including in music. So we must be vigilant in our choices, discerning in our consumption, committed to using music as a tool to glorify God. Now, many people overlook that Satan has long understood the power of music. And I am absolutely convinced more than ever, Satan is using music as a weapon to deceive, manipulate, and lead us away from God. So music, it's a divine gift from God. It should unite all of us. But I'm going to show you how Satan today has intentionally woven his influence into popular culture, using music to foster rebellion and promote idolatry. Now, I talked about Isaiah earlier, so we see in Scripture. But let's talk about modern music today, or relatively modern music. Throughout history, many have claimed that Satan or demonic forces have influenced certain songs, musical movements, either directly or indirectly, promoting rebellion, violence, spiritual darkness. One, and I know some of you are not going to like this, and I understand Ozzy Osbourne gave his life to Christ eventually, which is good, but we have to speak about Black Sabbath. So it was formed in the late 1960s. It's often associated with the occult themes. Their name itself references the Sabbath or satanic ritual. Ozzy Osbourne has spoken openly how the band's lyrics and themes delve into darkness, Satanism, the occult. Now, that's while not conclusive proof of direct satanic writing, it does illustrate how music can be used to promote rebellion or spiritual darkness. Now, a lot of people say even rock and roll is the music of the devil. And I understand that. I'm not going to be going, 1940s, 1950s, 60s type of clergy. But we have to look at some of these music. Now, there have been some theories out there, spiritual testimonies that suggest that certain famous songs and artists, they've been influenced, even possessed by demonic forces when they write their songs. For example, the song Stairway to Heaven. I know a lot of people like that song. Led Zeppelin. Some believe that the lyrics contain hidden satanic symbols or messages designed to influence listeners towards spiritual rebellion. There are some interpretations say that the song's mysterious and hypnotic quality has led many to view it as a tool of a cult. The Beatles and Lucifer Connection, don't forget, there are claims that the band members, especially Lennon, was influenced by occult practices. Now, throughout history, we do see certain musical compositions and chants have been a part of the cult rituals, believed to invoke spirits or demonic forces. Remember, friends, that Satan's goal is to distract, deceive, ultimately lead us away from God, and music with its emotional and spiritual power is one of its most effective tools. So, I agree. Yep, that's true, Carl. Yeah. Songs that promote self-glorification, materialism, pride. Friends, that is modern-day idol worship. Melodies that evoke despair, glorify darkness, can weaken faith. Now, no, not all music is evil, but believers must be discerning, as I said. Here's the truth, and this is what people don't want to talk about. We are all in a spiritual battle. We're in spiritual warfare, whether people like this or not. The devil knows our weaknesses, and the devil will also use music to exploit them. So there are some things you can do. First, fill your mind with worship. Music that exalts God, not exalts self, ego, materialism. Ask God to reveal any spiritual influence behind the music that you listen to. I'm not saying everybody needs to be listening to Gregorian chant, but I am saying that we need to be mindful of what we listen to. Let's go into even a deeper presentation on this. Remember, I believe that music has the power to influence, It has the power to manipulate. And I also believe it has the power to put you in a hypnotic state without even being aware of it. Some songs are believed to be deliberately crafted to invoke evil, contain hidden satanic messages, cursed by dark forces. There's music out there that actually they're possessed. I believe they're possessed by spirits or cursed through tragic events. I'm going to present specific lyrics, even backward messages that are studied and even haunted recordings. So in the depths of the music industry, rumors of backward masking is what it's called. Those are hidden messages embedded deliberately to be heard only when played in reverse. They have haunted the minds, fans, skeptics alike. Many people believe that some artists and record producers inserted subliminal commands. I am telling you now, when I was studying at Loyola University in Chicago, and I studied communications, journalism, subliminal messaging, you would be shocked with some of these subliminal visuals that you don't even realize until it's pointed out. There are people who sell, specific brand or whatever it might be, who spend a lot of money on subliminal messages. For example, you're watching a television show. Let's say you haven't eaten Oreos in years. You haven't even thought about it. And all of a sudden, you're craving Oreos. It's like, man, what in the heck? You've got to have it. And yet you didn't even realize that in the back of the scene, right on the shelf, there were several packages of Oreos. That's not by accident. So these companies pay a substantial amount of money to place certain product placement and these subliminal messages without you even realizing it. Your subconscious picks it up. So let's explore some of the most chilling examples in music. Again, the Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin, the classic rock anthems, perhaps one of the most famous for alleged backward messages. So there are people who, and you can go back and you can hear it, people who play it backwards. You absolutely hear, here's to my sweet Satan, the one whose little path would make me sad, whose power is Satan. So when you play that song backwards, you hear this. There are also some listeners claim that they hear, when people play the song backwards, many people say that they hear this. The most disturbing part, some listeners are hearing, hey, he is Satan. Queen, another one bites the dust. When you play that backwards, it's pretty clear. I've heard it. It says it's fun to smoke, And other claims they say he is Satan. I didn't hear that one. Pink Floyd, Money. Some listeners report hearing when you play that Money backwards, it says eat your, I don't even know how to even say it without being punished on TikTok. Others hear dance and scream. The Dark Side, Pink Floyd. When you play this backwards, and I heard it, it says, I want you to unalive yourself. Another one also says sleep, but not forever. So we have to, let's explore music that directly praises Satan, invokes demonic powers, celebrates evil. It's not just rumors. They are stories of influence and curses and darkness. Black Sabbath. So matter of fact, one of the tracks is often called the first satanic metal song. One of the lyrics says, what is this that stands before me? Figure in black, which points at me. Many believe this song conjures a dark entity or spirit. So the band's fascination with the occult has fueled claims that they were intentionally invoking evil. Iron Maiden. I know there are some Iron Maiden fans out there. I know it. The Number of the Beast. The song is notorious for its lyrics. and the stories surrounding it. The lyrics, caught in a dream. I see a man's face, the face of the devil, the mark of the beast. The mark of the, and then the chorus repeats, the number of the beast, the number of the beast. Many people believe that singing this song repeatedly can open spiritual portals. And after its release, there are fans that reported having nightmares, shadowy figures, even unexplained disturbances in their home. Slayer, Angel of Death is the name of the song. The song's lyrics about a particular 1945 individual, Joseph Mingle, who have made it controversial. Some see it as glorifying evil, others a critique of evil. Many report that listening to it repeatedly can cause dark thoughts, influence behavior. Venom, black metal. Venom's black metal is often credited with defining genre's satanic theme. Its lyrics openly embrace darkness and evil. It says, black metal, darkness in my life. The band members openly claim satanic allegiance during their early days. Let me give you exact transcriptions of some of the most disturbing alleged backward messages, things that many people believe that were deliberately embedded in songs to influence or even control listeners. So as we talked about Stairway to Heaven, when you play this backwards, you can hear, here's to my sweet Satan. And we talked about another one, Bites the Dust. Money, Pink Floyd. Again, I can't say it without being punished on TikTok. The Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. Dark Side of the Moon, when you play it backwards, you can hear, I Want to Unalive Yourself. Queen, Killer Queen. To be rich is divine. Many individuals have claimed that listening to these songs backwards or repeatedly can cause mental disturbances, nightmares, even possession. Now, some recordings are considered cursed because of the tragedies surrounding their creation or release. By the way, there's a case, the Satanic Tape. It was an underground cassette. It was circulated in 1980s. I remember this, containing a collection of chants, incantations, demonic invocations, and those who listened reported terrifying hallucinations, violent urges, mental breakdowns. And maybe we'll say it was created by a secret cult to invoke dark forces every time it was played. The next one was the Haunted Album of Satanic Verses. It was stories of a vinyl that was, after it was released, caused nightmares, hallucinations, even physical illness among listeners. It can be, but Curtis, but when so many people are hearing the same thing, when it's pretty clear, I don't think we can argue that. There's another one, the Ghostly Record of the Devil's Song. It was a collection in 1990s. It bought a rare vinyl called The Devil's Song. And after playing it, this person reported hearing a voice whispering in his ear, commanding him to do terrible things. His nightmares were filled with demonic figures. He claimed that the lyrics were indecipherable, but in his dreams, they were crystal clear. Modern songs that worship evil, I mean, we see this. Look, Kanye West, with all due respect, no, not with all due disrespect, I don't like Kanye West. Jesus is the name of this song. Many fans believe certain lyrics contain coded messages praising the devil. That's their perception, and they have a right to have that. Lil Nas X, Call Me By Your Name, Montero. This hit features overt satanic images. Thank you. You see this. I saw it. You can't deny this. It's an explicit celebration of darkness, which some interpret as an invocation of evil spirits, and I believe it. If you've not seen that, there's no way you can't say it's in your face. And yeah, let's not forget the satanic shoes. Many current artists incorporate occult symbols, references to Satan, themes of evil in their lyrics. Look, the stories are too numerous and terrifying to dismiss outright. Many believe that some songs are cursed, imbued with dark energy. Studies show that repetitive exposure to certain themes or messages in music, it absolutely influences the subconscious thoughts, dreams, spiritual states. Some individuals report nightmares, mental disturbances, even spiritual possession after listening to certain haunted or cursed recordings. By the way, in a moment, we're going to talk about movies. The Exorcist 3. Yeah, that was Jeffrey Dahmer's favorite movie to watch because it put him in a trance. This is from his words. That's what he would do. He would invite someone to come into his home. He would give them something to drink, and they would get very, obviously, tired. And then he would play The Exorcist 3. And there's a certain part where the priest opens the book, and then this horrible thing happens, and he puts him in a trance. So next time you press play, consider that we might be hidden, that might be in hidden lyrics, the backward whispers, subliminal messages. Now, look, we see there's explicit lyrics with satanic or occult themes. I mean, in many hard songs, they're hailing Satan blatantly. Lucifer by Shining. Well, it says, Lucifer, I hear your call. Bring me darkness, bring me all. By Shining. Kanye West, Devil's Advocate. I'm the devil in disguise. Watch your soul before it dies. There's a song called Satan's Song by Ghost. Satan's Song, dark and long. Join the chorus, sing along. Even Iron Maiden, 666. 666, the mark of the beast, in the shadows, to say the least. Now, there are many people say that there are curses, like the Black Sabbath curse. Numerous stories of band members experiencing bizarre accidents, mental disturbances, supernatural phenomena that's linked to the song. The mysterious tape in the 1960s, 1980s we just talked about. The demonic record in the 1990s. So whether the stories, whether you've seen these things or not, the fact of the matter is music has power. And we have to be very, very careful what music that we're listening to. I went to, oh my goodness gracious, guys. If you have not seen this, when I saw this, you cannot tell me under any circumstances, you're not going to convince me that this was not satanic. I'm going to tell you this, and of course, and I'm going to show you some pictures too of, there's clear transition going on where you have singers and then something happened. Their music becomes very dark, very evil, and not their whole embodied just transforms. It's eerie. I'm going to see if I have, let's see if I have this in, I'll show you some of the pictures. Yeah. There's a song now, and I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to play it because if I do, then that's invocation. So I'm not doing this. But there's a video on TikTok, and if you've seen it, then you know it. But here again, I'm not going to play the lyrics, but that's what it looks like. And this is, if it mentions all the demons' names, and it's powerful, and it's da-da-dunt, da-da-dunt. That's what it sounds like. So while it's mentioning their names, it's da-da-dunt, and it's like so it even mentions, there you go, right there. It even mentions the demon's name. Da-da-da-dunt. And that's how it is. Every time it introduces a demon, it's ba-ba-da-dunt. The sad part about that, it went viral. Travis Scott. I look, you're not going to tell me that what was that thing that he did, Travis Scott? That satanic. It was absolutely satanic. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That thing that he did, Travis Scott. What, do you guys remember that? No, it was some concert, I forgot, where someone actually passed away. Oh, it was Astroworld. Yep, Astroworld. Astroworld was 1,000,000%. It was demonic. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm telling you, it was demonic. Number one, I could hear some of the chant, so I know what they were chanting. That was demonic chanting. They were invoking demons in that concert. So and as a matter of fact, so many people went there, and when they left, they were like, they kept saying, I felt like I was in hell. You were. That was the whole point. So this individual is in deep trouble spiritually, deep trouble. And that was 100%. That was a demonic presentation. Matter of fact, you can eat if you go and do your own research on it. Many people have stopped. There was a background on the big screen, and that had 666. It had Satan. I mean, there were so many subliminal messages that were on the screen. It was blatant. It was blatant, and it was demonic. Isn't it terrible? Something happened to Travis Scott. So this is Travis Scott before, and now you see Travis Scott after his. I don't know if he decided to win. He clearly sold his soul to the devil. But you see look at that. The difference doesn't even look like the same person. I mean, when I see this, I see evil. I can see evil in that. I absolutely can see evil when I see this. There's a triple red. Triple red. So here's a picture before, and then here's a picture after this singer went the wrong way. Look at this. That's terrible. This is I don't know what this is. This is $, AP Rocky. ASAP Rocky. I have no idea. I don't even know who he is. But you see, before you seeing him have a crucifix, something happened to where now he's walking around in a pentagram. And be baptized, you're not Christian either, because you just came and judged. Yeah, remember that part in Scripture where it says, judge not others lest ye be judged? Yeah, you remember that? Or did you forget that passage? I rebuke you, demon. Another one, Playboy Cardi. Playboy Cardi. You see, look at this. Folks, if you can't see that, and what you have here, this is under I think it is in the back. It says Satan. And you're right. Yeah, someone said the eyes. That says all it needs. And these are what people are listening to and thinking that it's completely okay. It's not. I want to share something with you. If you've not seen this really was very troubling. It is a song called No Angels. In my opinion, this is one of the most satanic music videos that I have ever seen. And I don't know what Justin Timberlake is up to. It's Justin Timberlake, but friends, this is dark and it's problematic. If you have not seen it, just watch it. It's called No Angels. Well, I don't think it will hurt to watch it if you're watching it, but if you're watching it as be put in a trance or all this other stuff. No, yeah, I watched it. I'm not possessed. I watched it because I needed to see what this was because I heard so much about it. So once Justin enters the building, we found out that this is some secret party. He's quickly greeted with his alter ego as he watches over him. And then we're greeted with the devil who invites him to come down. And then they start dancing seductively with the devil presents herself as a female. And then it gets dark, and I mean very dark. So while they're dancing, the devil scratches his face, which represents possession, and everyone at that moment turns into a demon. And his alter ego then makes eye contact with each other, as if saying, like, what have you just done? And the devil, then she spreads her wings, looks right at him in the face, and all the devils begin to worship it, the demons. And the devil then drops this black liquid from her mouth onto him, Justin Timberlake. And this is where things get really wild. Everyone gets this red liquid on them. Looks like blood. They start doing stuff with each other. And honestly, it's just, it is demonic. And his alter ego then puts his old self in the trunk. And he gets in the car with the devil. Her eyes possessed. And then, of course, they turn to him. And then his eyes become possessed and they drive off. If you have not seen this, this is no joke. This really is no joke. When I saw that, I thought, okay, when I tell you it's terrible, it's terrible. And I don't think it's called No Angels. And I don't think anybody can defend that because what I saw on this was incredibly problematic. So I will what I'll do is I'll show you just basically scenes of it because I don't want to play because there's some people who don't want to watch it. But then you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. But to me, when I saw that, I thought, okay, this is bad. So that's just the normal Justin. Okay. Then he goes into this party. Look, right there. First of all, you're going into this party, this door, and you got all this partying, and that's his alter ego. That's the alter ego. And I'll show you. This is when he begins. He's going over to the. Hold on. So he's dancing now with the devil. Okay. And the devil then scratches him. And then after the scratch, that's what you got. All these weird, quite honestly, it's orgy. And there's the devil right there. They're worshiping now the devil. And this is problem. And that's when the devil spits black stuff all over his face. And it turns into blood. Folks, this is demonic. And I know people are going to say, oh, no, Bishop, this is all creative. That's bull. That is bull. Don't give me this. This is creative licensing crap. Creative licensing, if you want to do creative, then dance. That's creative. But you don't have to put the devil up there spitting black stuff all over your face, and then it turns into blood, and everyone basically is having an orgy. And then you take your alter ego and throw him in the trunk and get rid of him, and then you have the devil in your car. Come on, I don't want to hear that. You're right. They're not even hiding it anymore. It's no longer. I'm telling you, this song, I am deeply, deeply troubled. And what I'm really troubled with is so many people are just thinking, well, it's just creative. No, it's not. That's not creative licensing. Give me a break. Give me a break. So anyway, kind of crazy. Okay, let's go into cursed movies. Cursed movies. All right. Yeah, this is this problem. Sam Smith is another. You can see how there's this change, how they were before, and then all of a sudden something happened. So, okay, again, trolls, you're just going to be blocked. Well, we don't entertain Jerry Springer, and I know that you're over here to say something nasty just to get clout, so that you can get followers because you're not creative enough to actually do your own show. We know what it is. We know why you guys do it. Well, let's just call it like it is. You come over here, you try to get clout, you try to get followers, and the way you get followers is to come over and be really disrespectful and rude, and you think people are going to clap for you because you said something really mean and stupid. No, we actually look down upon that kind of behavior because it's demonic. Because as I said before, if you have God in your heart, you wouldn't troll another human being. You just don't. You know how many people I've trolled? None. Trolling is demonic as well. Trolling is 100%. And that's the problem. We've gotten to a society where we think that we are normalizing abnormal behavior. Oh, it's all for fun and games. Really? It is? You mean for the person that you're actually saying some horrible, god-awful things to on the other side of that screen, you think that person thinks it's all fun and games? See, that's the problem right there. It always starts there. Well, it's all fun and games at someone else's expense. That is demonic influence. So when you're using your words to hurt or try to hurt another person, and then you get excited about it, you can't wait, you anticipate the reaction, that is sadistic. That is the very definition of sadism. I strongly encourage anyone who falls, if you're tempted to do this, you need to realize that the devil is working on you, and you don't even realize it. So now let's get into movies, and then we'll get into you two threatening bishop. You can't handle the 2 minutes here. Yeah. Yeah. They're saying you threaten. Yeah. Taylor Swift. I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. Yeah. I'm just, I'm deeply troubled with the type of music that I'm seeing online. Deeply troubled. And I'm also troubled with the many people who call themselves Christians, and they come and they judge harshly. I mean, really harshly. I have never seen the amount of judgment that I have seen by people who claim to be Christians and they've condemned me to hell and back 500 million times, and all in the name of Jesus. The moderators can tell you. Okay, I agree, Shelley. I agree. So let's talk about cursed movies. These are crazy. Our story begins in the early 1970s with a film that's become kind of a stuff of legend, The Omen. So it's a horror film about the Antichrist, but behind the scenes, something much darker was unfolding. So the film's production, it was plagued with tragedy. The original director, Richard Donner, experienced a series of misfortunes, accidents on set, financial troubles, crew members falling seriously ill. But the real horror began after filming Wrapped. So it's said that during the premiere of 1976, a series of bizarre incidents struck those involved. So the film's producer, Mace Newfield, narrowly escaped a plane crash that unalived everyone else on board. The director, Richard Donner, was nearly unalived in a car accident shortly after. And perhaps most chilling of all, the film's star, Gregory Peck, who portrayed Robert Thorne, later revealed that his son, who was supposed to be in the film, tragically passed away in a mysterious accident before they start filming. The curse didn't stop there. After the film's release, a series of inexplicable tragedies seemed to follow anyone associated with The Omen. So in 1978, a fire destroyed the set of a remake with only a single prop remaining untouched. A small carved figure of the Antichrist. Some say it was a warning. Others believe it was a curse itself manifesting. And then there is the eerie story of the Omen poster. The original poster featured a simple image, a child's face, with a sinister smile. Oh, I've seen Robert the Doll. I've also seen Annabelle. Years later, those who owned the poster reported unexplainable phenomena, strange whispers, flickering lights, even the image appearing to shift and change when viewed in certain lighting. But perhaps the most disturbing incident involved a man named David, who purchased a vintage Omen poster at an estate sale. And that night, he woke up to find the face of the poster staring right at him, eyes glowing faintly. And the next morning, the poster had vanished from his wall, only to reappear days later, crumbled and torn as if it had been violently ripped apart. Is it a coincidence, or is there something about the Omen that refuses this curse, refuses to let go? The next one, this one is Mr. Producer and I talked about this, and we'll get your questions in a moment, I promise you guys. For those of you, by the way, if you want to go to my site, please do so. You can go to Bishop James Long, LONG.com. Bishop James Long, follow that up with the .com, and click on the books link. Buy all my books. Yeah, sounds good. And before the trolls say, I knew you were a fraud, we're donating 100% of that to an orphanage. Beat ya. So anyway, please consider doing that because the orphanage can use the funding. 100% of the profits goes to them. 100%. Our community is supporting the MKS Kids Foundation. So we try to help them as much as we can. Next, we're going to talk about the haunting of Poltergeist. So it was released in 1982. Would love to, Barb. It's a story of a suburban family haunted by malevolent spirits. But the real horror isn't just on the screen. And after the presentation, in about 20 minutes or so, we'll get your questions. The production was marred by death and misfortune. Actor Dominique Dune, who played the eldest daughter, was unalived by her boyfriend in 1982, just a year after the film's release. Then Heather O'Rourke, the young girl who played Carol Ann, she passed away suddenly at age 12. During the filming of Poltergeist, The Other Side, her death was attributed to bowel obstruction. But many people believe it was more sinister. It gets worse. The set itself seemed to be cursed. During filming, equipment malfunctioned. Even crew members reported hearing unexplained voices whispering from the halls. And legend has it that the film's producer, Steven Spielberg, was warned by a psychic that the movie was cursed and that the spirits that they conjured might not be so easily contained. One of the most disturbing stories involved a particular scene, the infamous clown doll. During filming, a real clown doll was used as a prop. After filming, the doll was stored in a warehouse. Years later, workers reported hearing its faint giggling echoing through the halls, even when the doll was nowhere to be seen. And here's the chilling part. 2015, a collector bought a vintage Poltergeist clown doll at auction. That night, he reported seeing the doll's face change. Its eyes seemed to follow him, and he awoke to faint giggles coming from the darkness. So are these stories mere coincidences, or does Poltergeist have curse that lingers? Dark energy unleashed? Let's talk also about the deadly legacy of the Crow. That's a terrible. What a horrible tragedy. So The Crow was released in 1994. It is a dark tale of revenge, but it's also haunted real-life tragedy. So the film star, Brandon Lee was the son of Bruce Lee. He was accidentally unalived on set during filming because there was a particular weapon. It was a prop weapon. It was loaded, and this fragment causes passing of 28. It was a horrible accident. Some believe it was the curse taking its toll. Bruce Lee absolutely believed that his children would be cursed. And he struggled with that a lot. He had nightmares about this. Because what's even more unsettling is that Brandon Lee's death was preceded by a series of eerie incidents. Crew members reported hearing unexplained noises, shadowy figures, even feeling of cold presence in the studio. And after Brandon's death, production was delayed. And the film was completed using CGI, stunt doubles. Tragedy didn't end there. In the years since, others involved with the film reported strange phenomena, like a crew member once claimed that a mysterious figure appeared in a mirror, only to vanish when approached. And perhaps most chilling, before Brandon's passing, he reportedly had a premonition. He told friends that he felt a dark presence on set, as if something malevolent was watching. This is fascinating because Bruce Lee, I watched a documentary once on this, and Bruce Lee had a real problem. And he truly believed that his family line was cursed, and that this particular monster was coming after Brandon. And Bruce Lee would have night terrors where he's fighting this monster to keep him away from Brandon. And many times he couldn't beat him. And he would wake up panicked. Now we're going to, of course, talk about The Exorcist. It's not just the film, but the real life stories that have haunted those involved. So the film, it was released in 1973, considered one of the scariest movies ever made. What many don't know is that the production was plagued by bizarre events. So actors and crew members reported feeling an oppressive presence on set. Some claimed they saw shadows moving in the corners of their eyes. Others experienced nightmares, sleep paralysis, unexplained illness. The real curse began after the release. Several people associated with the film suffered tragic fates. The most infamous story involves the passing away of Jack McGowan, a priest who was called to bless the set. Shortly after, he passed away suddenly of a heart attack. Others involved in the film reported hearing strange voices and feeling a sinister energy. And then, of course, there's a story of The Exorcist's original prop, an ancient cursed relic that was used during filming. It's said that the relic was responsible for a series of accidents, misfortunes that still carries a dark energy. One of the most chilling accounts is from a crew member who claimed that after handling the relic, he was haunted by visions of a demon, the particular demon that was in the film. And he said that he awoke every night hearing a guttural growl, feeling an invisible hand gripping his chest. The next one is the dark side of, let's talk a little bit more about the legend of the song, The Devil. Are you guys familiar with this? One of the most infamous is the song called The Song of the Devil. It's an obscure folk tune, but it's said to be cursed. And according to legend, anyone who listens to it will be cursed and suffer tragedy. So the story goes that the song was recorded secretly in a haunted studio in 1920s. A singer whose name was Eliza was said to have sold her soul to the devil to produce the haunting melody. And shortly after her recording, she vanished without a trace. And those who have attempted to reproduce the song, they face terrible consequences. But in 1977, a band in England discovered a vinyl copy of the song in an abandoned house. They played it during a live set. Within a week, band members began dying in mysterious accidents. One drowned, another was struck by lightning, and a third passed away in a car crash. Some say that the song's cursed nature lies in its lyrics, which contain hidden incantations and demonic whispers. Listening to it is said to awaken dark forces. And the story doesn't end there. In 2010, a radio station in Japan played the song as a prank, only to have the station's transmission suddenly cut out. And later, the engineer reported seeing shadowy figures moving in the studio. It's crazy. So are these just stories? Some believe that curses are manifestations of human fear, powerful, real only because we believe in them. Others think that these movies and songs are vessels, opening portals to darker realms. There are reports of people experiencing inexplicable misfortune after watching certain films or listening to certain songs. Accidents, illnesses, sudden tragedies. Is it coincidence? And perhaps I think the most terrifying thought is, are we cursed simply for listening? So this journey through the darkness of cursed movies and music, I believe, is real. Remember, sometimes the stories that we tell only on the surface, well, beneath them lies a shadow waiting to be uncovered. I strongly encourage you not to engage in even participating, watching, listening to movies that glorify lust, power, self-glorification, certain devil worship, no question, darkness. Stay away from this. They are no, and just as someone had said earlier, they are no longer hiding this now. They're no longer hiding it. You know, previously, in the years before now, you know, it was subtle. Now it's no longer subtle. It's right in your face. I remember that was, I think it was one of those awards. I forgot, maybe those are music awards. And I forgot that guy who did it. That was demonic. I don't care what anyone says. That was demonic. But I forgot that name of that guy, that idiot. But it was on one of those awards, those music awards. That Sam, friends, that was absolutely, there was nothing subtle about that at all. Sam Smith, that was 100% demonic. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if you've not seen it, well, just understand it is right. It is conditioning and desensitization. It really is, because you're normalizing this behavior. And when we start listening to this type of music that glorifies sex, that glorifies abuse, that glorifies power and money and darkness, all that other stuff, once you start doing that, that's it. See, the devil wants you to objectify each other. Because when you objectify each other, you no longer see that person as a human being. You see that that thing as an object to do whatever you want with it. So human beings are objectified to the point that the value of human beings are just mere objects. And then when we're finished with it, we just discard it. And that's what some of this music does. And we see this. It's blatant. So it's idolizing, yeah. And this self-glorification, well, it's self-idolizing, self-worship. As I said in the very beginning of this presentation, we need to all remember that the devil knows music better than any of us. Remember, the devil was in the heavenly realm. The devil knows harmony. The devil knows lyrics. The devil knows how infiltrating the music industry, before you know it, thank you very much, Starla. Before you know it, you're singing a song and you don't even know really that the fact that the lyrics that you're singing are very dark. Objectifying human beings to mere objects for self-glorification, for self-gratifying purposes. And so we have to be very careful. Very, very careful. All right, so there was a lot of questions. If you have some questions, we'll be more than happy to jump in. Spirit boxes, they're very dangerous because you don't know who you're communicating with. But see, Sammy, let me just explain something about paranormal investigators. So I do work with paranormal investigators, and the reason being is because I can't be everywhere at once. You know, I can't be in California or Florida or all these other places. So if there's a case in California and it needs my attention, I will send a team that has been paranormal investigating for a long time, that doesn't believe everything is demonic, but they go out, they investigate, they gather all the evidence, and they present the evidence to me. And then if it's clear that this is a demonic situation, then I get involved. But I rely very heavily on paranormal investigators who know that they are walking into the possibility of a very serious case. They also know the consequences. And they're willing to take those consequences and accept them on behalf of this type of ministry. So, oh yeah, I don't see as necessarily as paranormal investigations. I see it as documentation. So in other words, when a team goes to, let's say someone says, look, I'm hearing growls, I'm hearing this, I'm seeing this in my home, and they're in New York. Well, I don't have a jet. I can't just hop on a jet and go to New York. So if there's a team that I know in New York that's been investigating for a long time, they have all the equipment, and that is a ministry. I want to make this very clear. Christians, please stop judging all the paranormal investigators. The paranormal investigators that I work with are doing ministry. They are working hard, and they never charge, ever. And they spend a lot of money for this equipment. This equipment is not cheap. So the teams that I work with, they go out to people's homes. They don't know these people, and they don't owe them anything. But yet they're willing to invest all this money into this equipment. They leave their family. They go to this house. They spend hours and hours investigating. They gather all the evidence. They present the evidence to me. That's a ministry. That is a ministry. They're not out in graveyards running around chasing ghosts. They're going to people's homes, trying to find out what's going on. Perhaps maybe they can debunk the activity. They can explain it. That's the goal. And only when the evidence is clear that this is not something that can be easily explained, that's when we start looking into the supernatural. So these people that I work with, these teams travel hours and hours to go to people's homes, spend hours and hours there, do the investigation, and then it takes a long time to review all the evidence. If you've ever investigated, you know one of the most difficult parts, at least for me, is having the patience to sit down and watch every single video. Watch everything. Document everything. That is a lot of work. No, Sammy, that wasn't for you. Yes, Mara, I have. Do you believe that artists know that they are doing real demon stuff? That's a good question. See, a lot of times, sometimes you can say an artist might not know. That's what I meant by we are normalizing abnormal behavior. And so when the temptation comes from an artist who says, well, I'm going to do this, but I'm just doing it's all artistry. You got to take a step back. Who does it glorify? That's the $1 million question. Because if you're singing a song and you're glorifying demons and it's all power, and because look, notice that, for example, in Justin Timberlake's in that video, notice that it was all party and everyone was having a great time, and it was just what? Well, yeah, because they want to glorify the demons. They want to glorify the darkness. They want to glorify. You don't have to worry about doing good, avoid evil. You don't have to be nice. It's all about being selfish. It's all about being greedy. It's all about being this. Look at all hedonism. And that's what they did in this video. So I think it's incredibly problematic. Incredibly problematic. Of course, yeah, the Vatican still performs exorcisms. Yep. Is submission you really a face? Yes. So submission, when you're, first of all, there's several things. For example, how do you become possessed? Well, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, it is because there's an invitation. And what I mean by that is you're submitting your will to them. So you go to a place that's known to have demonic infestation, and this is what you do. Come on, demon, I dare you to do something. Come on, push me, blah, 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 blah. Friends, you're not provoking. That's not provocation. I don't know. I told Zach the same thing. You're not provoking. You're inviting. And you must know the difference. So if you go to a place that's known to have demonic infestation and you're beating your chest and say, come on, I dare you to do something, you've just given the invitation that it needs. That's it. You haven't provoked, you've invited. And so what I tell people is stay far away from locations that are known to be demonic. I don't know why people go to these locations. Perhaps maybe it's just to see. Maybe it's just to experience. Well, the problem is when you experience it, what do? Please understand, the moment you step foot in a place that you know that has demonic infestation, by your very presence, that's a form of invitation. Stay away from them. For 25 years, this is why I've talked about this in paranormal conferences. When I go to paranormal conferences and I talk, I believe Annalise was 100% possessed. No ifs, ands, or no doubt about it. None. But when I go to paranormal conferences and they don't really like me talking about this, but that's too bad. When you go to locations that is known to have demonic infestation, by you stepping foot in that location and you know there could be demonic presence, you are inviting. That's it. You can't jump if you see a bunch of great white sharks and then you think, well, let's just go jump in the ocean right in the middle of them and you get bit, we can't be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised. But the same thing when you know there's demonic infestation, leave it alone. Leave it a thing. Yeah, Annalise, there's no question Annalise McKell was possessed. No ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing a presentation on that within probably the next week, maybe a couple weeks. And yeah, the Annalise was possessed. No doubt. No doubt. And I think that they went too far. They went way too far. Okay. Well, for example, look. For example, look, I know Sean. You go up. There are lots of places where people will go, and they purposely go because they've heard, oh, you might hear this, you might see this, or this person got scratched, or this person heard growls, and then you go to that location. Why? Why are you there? Because I want to see. And then what do you do when you see it? What do? I'll call Bishop Long. I have 21,000 messages on TikTok. I have 23,873 emails. Bishop Long does this for free. I can't get to everybody. I have over 900 messages on Messenger. Unless you pay someone $15,000. Between 10 and 15, that's what some people are charging. I don't charge. But my waiting list is pretty long. So I don't have a staff. So when you have something like this and you go into a location and then you have an attachment and then you call me and you want to know why I can't answer your phone calls or why I can't respond, because I'm helping 21,000 people on TikTok, 19,000 people on, come on. Can't. So stay away from it. Stay away from those locations. Nothing good. Stay away. Stop collecting these haunted items. Stop collecting these. Leave these things alone. Leave them alone. There's a lot of people collecting these haunted items, and I have a storage facility full of items that people have collected through the years that were absolutely demonic, 100%. As a matter of fact, that's the doll that I have that was on the Eli Roth Legion of Exorcists show. That doll, I will tell you, that doll, there, I have very rare have I been around objects that is like, okay, you can feel it. This is pretty heavy. Annabelle is one of them. That doll that I own, that is, I'm going to tell you that story. I'm going to tell you the story again in a couple of weeks or so. It caught my laptop on fire, and a whole room of people saw it. The whole the whole room in Louisville Mid-South Paranormal Conference. So, okay. Why do I keep the doll? Because I bind the demonic entity to the object. The whole point of this is you bind the demonic to the object, and I keep these items because I'm a teacher. I have a master's of education. I am an exorcist. I take these items and I say, this is the story behind this. This is the story behind that. So when I go to paranormal conferences and I bring these items and people can see them with the matter of fact, there was a team. I don't know if they're here. I've never seen this in my entire life before, but I was at Moundsville. Yep, Cheeto. I was on Moundsville, West Virginia, and they had a paranormal conference there, and I had the doll that was on the Eli Roth show, Legion of Exorcists show, and I had it sitting on the table, and people could see it. And there was a gentleman that asked me if he could use his FLIR camera. I was like, well, sure, of course, no problem. And he did it. And he showed me, he said, there is a huge difference. I mean, it is massive. I forgot what it was, like 400-degree difference. And he asked if I would be willing to open up the case. Well, at that time, there was no one else around. No one was present. I blessed it. I opened the case up. And he did the FLIR on the case. It read something. It was a cool, and then the doll. I mean, it was the brightest pink, red. I mean, it was a 400-degree difference. It was unbelievable. He sent me the video. I don't know the history of this doll, but I do know that this doll is not good. It's not good. Moundsville demonic. I've heard yes and no. So. Do you have anything attachments themselves to when you investigate? Yeah, Tracy, you can. You create. So when you go to an investigation, especially in a location that's known to be demonic, you absolutely could have attachment. Now, here's the problem. That certainly you can pray the Saint Michael the Archangel prayer. You can pray, but the issue is this: you've given the invitation. That is the problem. So people want to give the invitation, but then they don't want to have an attachment. Well, it doesn't work that way. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So if you go to these locations that are known to have a demonic entity and you're beating your chest saying, come on, demon, I dare you. You have invited. That's invitation. People need to understand you have not provoked. Provocation is when you begin praying. When you begin to praying the Our Father. When you get the litany of the saints. When you begin praying the rosary, that's provocation. That's a different set of rules altogether. So, for example, and I know there's a lot of questions, guys. Oh, sure, yeah, you can. We call upon Saint Raphael for healing. Yeah, I've never been there. I've never been that cheap. But understand that possession is a process, and here's what I mean by that. Provocation means, okay. Let's say that I'm working with a person who has what's called transient possession. What is transient possession? That's when the demonic will enter the body and leave at will. All right, now I got to explain this. So give me time, no questions, just listen to this so I can break it down for you so you can get a better understanding. There are really 3 stages that leads to possession. Infestation, oppression, obsession, and possession. And here's what I mean by that. So you go to a location, it's known to have a demonic entity. Come on, demon, I dare you to do something. That's invitation. The demonic is saying, oh, I will do something. When you're sick, you're lonely, when you're depressed, when your wife or your husband leaves you, when you lose your job, that's when I will do something. And now they've attached to you. You've given the invitation. You then go home, and then you have what's called demonic infestation. Demonic infestation is when religious objects are desecrated. You will hear growls, bangings, walls, sometimes in threes. Animals are terrified. Sometimes the smell of sulfur or rotten flesh. It's pretty terrible. I was a police chaplain for quite some time, and when you went to scenes, you can never get that smell out. It's always there. Then you have what's called demonic obsession and demonic oppression. Demonic oppression is when the demons begin to attack you physically. So it begins to attack your will, scratching, biting, pinching. It's causing extreme sleep deprivation. Extreme sleep deprivation, and you're terrified. I mean, you're in your home alone, and you're clearly seeing dark shadows. You are hearing things. When you begin to hear, that's called demonic obsession. So it begins to interact with you. You can hear it. So what it's doing at that stage is breaking your intellect and will. So it's causing extreme sleep deprivation. You think you're going insane. And it causes you to isolate yourself, and it is breaking down the will of the person. We're past sleep deprivation at this point. So now the person is extremely immunocompromised. And then you have what's called possession. Now there's perfect possession and transient possession. Transient possession is when the demonic will enter the body and leave at will. But the person always remains in the stage of oppression and obsession. So even when they're not in the stage of possession, the demon is constantly, it's still attacking the intellect and will, because they want the intellect and will to remain at a point where the person cannot get strong enough to fight it. Annalise McKell, otherwise known as Emily Rose, that was transient possession. Most of the cases that I worked, perfect possession is when the person is in a perfect stage of possession, there's no relief. So most of the cases, the 34 exorcisms that I have performed, they were in transient possession. So when I go into their home, they're not in a possessed state, they're in an oppressed state. And then I will begin to provoke. I will use oil, holy water, sacramentals of the church, rosary. If you want to get the most violent reaction from a demonic, it is once again, you pray the rosary. It is unbelievably violent. And then you watch for the signs, and you know when transit possession is beginning to take place. That's when you begin what's called the litany of the saints. So we invoke the saints to be present with us during the rite. Then the person goes into possession. Most of the time when the person goes into possession, it's a calm. Sometimes the eyes will roll back in the head, and that's when the possession starts. And then there's stages to the exorcism. So, but the person always remains in a stage of oppression. Okay. Do you go to hospitals when they have psychosis? No, I'm not trained. I'm not a psychiatrist, but we require psychological evaluations. So because we don't want, we have to be very careful. And that's what I don't like about so many deliverance ministers. They're performing these exorcisms on people, and they're not having any psychological evaluation performed. As I mentioned earlier, that's very dangerous, because if a person has dissociative identity disorder, you can create another identity. Or if they're in psychosis, you could feed into that psychotic state of mind. Do demons talk to you during the time? Yes. But during the rite, there is a part where you silence the voice. And one day what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about, in a couple of weeks or so, I'm going to be presenting real cases of exorcism, and I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to tell you what happens during an exorcism. So then you can know. Now, people are saying, "Oh, Bishop Long, you shouldn't do this." The Roman Catholic Church they've been doing this now. So I think people need to be aware of what happens during an exorcism. That way you can know, not for you to do it, because don't. But I think it's important that people know this is what happens. There is so what happens during an exorcism is the demonic will throw its voice. And it's a term. What I mean by that, if you've ever gone into tube to the U, we can't say that because TikTok, but you get what I'm saying. And if you type in 8D surround sound and then put on a headsets, and when the demon throws its voice, the whole point of that is for disorientation. So if the demon will scream, then you'll hear it behind you. And then you'll hear it wander over here, over here, and then in front of you, and then very close, and then it's away. You have to silence the voice because it tries to disorient the exorcist. And these are all parlor tricks that the demon will try to do to intimidate. So, but anyway. Okay. Not all the exorcisms have been like that. Now, the first exorcism was probably, someone asked earlier, the first exorcism was the most terrifying. No question. And that was actually on the Eli Roth show. But I was not a bishop then. I was the assistant. I was the secondary. I wasn't the primary. And I was there to assist. And I remember, I'd always read about the possibility of the eyes going black. Always read that, and even contortions of the body. But when you see it, it's a different world. It's not something you can ever prepare yourself for. So during the rite, especially in transient possession, you lift the eyelids, and there's a way to lift the lids so that you don't get your fingers bit off. And so you lift the eyelids, and that's what I was doing. And I just saw black. It was just black, but I could see my reflection in the eyes. I mean, I could see. It was like looking in a mirror, and I couldn't move. I was catatonic. I was completely catatonic, and I felt like prey. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't say, "Hey, help!" I couldn't say I'm in trouble. I just felt like prey. I was looking in the eyes of an apex predator, something very dark, powerful, void of life. I mean, it was just a black mirror that I could see my reflection. And so the primary then grabbed me by the collar because he knew what was happening. And he did a blessing, and then we continued. That was the only time that I've seen a form of levitation. But it wasn't a levitation that you see on The Exorcist. It was a levitation. She was laying down flat on her back, and it was like someone had tied a rope around her waist, and it just did this, and her vertebrae cracked. I actually thought she had broken her back, but it's just like something just lifted her up like a V shape, just like it was very unnatural, and it just went right down like that. That's the only form of levitation that I've seen. I've never seen like 3 or 4 feet of levitation, but I guess that's a form of levitation. But I mean, the vertebra, the crack. I really thought that her back had been broken. So I do, Sunshine. I do believe in that. Matter of fact, I've seen them. I was at a case one time. So. We pray for healing, for protection, Gabriel and Uriel. So, no, that's a good question. Yeah, Hillary. Okay, so the individuals do not remember the stage of possession. They go into it's a catatonic state to where they have no memory of it. They remember what led up to it. So they remember the stage of oppression. They remember the stage of obsession. They remember all of that. But when the stage of possession occurs, actual possession, they don't remember what happens. They go into this neurological, if you will, silence. Yeah. They don't want to contact dead loved ones. You don't need to contact dead loved ones. Your loved ones are resting in the arms of our God, and you don't have to worry about that. So you don't need to worry about that. Matter of fact, and here's what I want you to do. If you're worried about your loved ones, I want you to go to a site. It's called nderf.org. ND, D as in dog, erf.org. It is the world's largest website. People who have clinically died and who have seen their loved ones. I have saw my mom. Absolutely, I saw my mom 1,000,000%. And the owner of the nderf.org is a medical doctor. I've talked about my experience many times, and he is absolutely convinced, without question, that I saw my mom. She passed away in 2014. I had a procedure in 2015. I saw my mom, and on the way, all the way from the recovery room to the operating room to the recovery room, apparently I was screaming my head off. I saw Mom. I wouldn't stop screaming it. And when I finally came to, I saw my sister and I said, I saw Mom. And she's like, the whole hospital heard you. You wouldn't stop yelling it. You kept screaming it over and over. I don't remember that. And Dr. Long, who I had him on the show, he said, you couldn't have faked that because you were still under propofol. And the fact that something happened. And I heard that loud noise going off behind me. That was the anesthesiologist going off because I flatlined. I saw my mom. And let me tell you something. I have never seen someone so beautiful. I have never seen anything so beautiful in all my life. As a matter of fact, I thought it was an angel. She walked up behind the surgeon very quickly. I remember waking up. So I got propofol. They knocked me out. I woke up. I looked over. The surgeon was freaking out. I wanted to calm him down, but I couldn't talk. I couldn't communicate. I saw him. I know what a dream is. This wasn't a dream. Besides, there's a 0% chance. You can't dream under propofol. A 0% chance. That's science. For those of you who love science, no such thing as dreaming. I saw the doctor, and I wanted to say, dude, what's wrong with you? Never dawned on me that I was the patient. A loud noise was going off behind me. It's horrible. It was annoying. And then the brightest light shined right behind him. And a silhouette came in behind him. I thought originally it was an angel radiating joy. My God, the joy. And I looked closer and I thought, that's my mom. That's Mom. She placed her hand on his shoulders. He took a deep breath. He did something. He motioned something behind me. That loud noise went off. She smiled at me. She faded away. And so when I came to, that's when I saw my sister. And I said, and then my sister said, the whole hospital heard you. You were screaming nonstop. Fact of the matter is, one, Dr. Long said the anesthesiologist machine going off because you flatlined. Makes a horrible noise. Two, my mom worked in cardiology. So Dr. Long believed I had a cardiac issue during the procedure. And three, I could not have faked that I was seeing Mom all the way from the operating room to the recovery room because I was still under propofol. So I saw her. And so, friends, for those of you who are worried about that, you don't need to be. You don't need to be. The joy that was in her face, there are no words to describe it. None. So, yeah, I was working a case for the black-eyed children. I was working a case, and it was pretty late. And there was two children who came in. It was around midnight. And it was a very violent demonic case. And they knocked on the door. And so one of the investigators went out and said something. I don't know. I was in the other room. And they said, Bishop Long, we got a problem. Okay. Now I'm dealing with this house issue now. So I came in and it was a screen and door. There was a street light. So they couldn't really see the eyes. And so I walked over to these two kids. I think they were between 12 and 13 years old, maybe. And I said, what's the problem? And he said, look. What? He said, just look. And I looked at their face and there was no eyes. No eye. And then we said, can I help you? Nothing. And they just turned around. They walked away. And so I told the homeowner's son, I forgot what I was telling the homeowner, we got to go check this out. There are kids. It was late at night. It's like, what are these kids doing out at this late at night? So we finally walked down the stairs. Nothing. They weren't there. I don't know. I have no idea. But we know we saw it, but we don't know what that was. Demonic? I think so. For those of you listening on podcast, we say goodnight to you guys. Folks, it is that time. My gosh, it wrapped it up quick. I want to remind everybody that tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to have night prayer. TikTok, I'll stay with you guys a little longer. Just a little longer as we wrap it up on our everywhere else. So we'll be here, of course, next week, as we always are. Make sure you please tune in and also join us tonight for night prayer. We would love to pray with you guys. Okay, so remember, my friends, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, and your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. You are priceless. Don't let anybody tell you or convince you otherwise. Good night.